Right, so today we have come up to Hearts 4x4 and we're here with John and Jason. Hi guys.
Hello. You alright?
How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad.
We're pretty knackered after spending 2 months building this.
Yeah. Finished it this morning.
Just this morning, yeah, there's still a bit to do, right?
Oh yeah, there always is stuff to do right at the end.
You're going to tell us a bit today about basically all the mods that's happened and how they work and what it took to get there, really.
Yeah.
There was some stuff from before which we didn't manage to go through on the last trip. We had the custom winch mount made up for the winch, the rock sliders and the body lift, and also the high mounted alternator.
Yeah.
We start the front and we go through the winch mount.
Yeah, so
what did it take to build that?
well, Mark 1 weirdly has a nice space for a winch, which the Mark 2s and stuff don't. So there was a space for it, but you've got to build a custom tray off the sides of the chassis and everything to mount the winch in there. And it's mounted literally right behind the bumper. Fairly went into the bash plate quite nicely, so a little bit of fabrication on the bash plate to get the fairly mount that in. A load of wiring, solenoid boxes up behind here.
So that's a bit higher rather than sitting on top of the winch.
Yes, just keep it out of the way a bit and make it easier to get to the switch if you ever have to plug it in.
Yeah.
Powered off the first battery or second battery?
It's powered off the second battery on this one, so not putting too much strain on your start. Exactly, you can link them if you need a bit more.
Yeah.
Also, if it's dead, you can winch yourself out and it won't flatten your battery.
Yeah.
If you hydrolock it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So that's just on a plate between the two chassis legs.
Yeah, it's basically all it is. It's just a sort of winch tray.
And the fairlead just literally just cut into the original bash plate.
Yeah, so I've made a flat area which this bolts to, and you can see it comes back and then links up with the curves in the bash plate there.
And that is the Winch Max £13,500 winch. So we've only managed to try once so far.
It's the new one actually. They changed their design.
Yeah, it's the brand new design, isn't it?
Yeah. It's quite nice
brand
looking.
New armour line rope as well.
Yeah.
So looking forward to putting that through some more testing.
Yeah.
So if we move to, we might as well go to the rock sliders.
Yeah.
Which you can't really see.
Yeah.
They're covered in mud. we are out testing at the moment, so please forgive us. Talk to me about the design of these.
Well, it's the same as what we've been doing on. We've been offering these for ages, but this is the checker plate design. So you've got a tube rock slider, and if you look on the top, you've got a checker plate step on the top of that, and then that's got 3 chassis brackets that bolt up around the chassis, and that you can use it to get up on top. You can jack the truck up off it if you want. You can jack the whole truck off either side and get the whole thing in the air if you really want to. If you want to risk your life from 4 high lift jacks.
Might pass on that one.
But
it's a clamp around the chassis style.
Yeah. They use U-clamps around them.
And we did get to test these in Wales last time. You probably saw by
you got quite beached in Wales.
Body lift. That was what was the reason behind that?
2-inch body lift, mainly because if you're going to put metalwork, rock sliders, winch tray and everything, if you then have body lift afterwards, you get a gap of 2 inches or however much body lift you do between them, and it doesn't look as right, and you miss out on that extra clearance that you could get by making them higher. So really you want to start with your body lift and then do your mods afterwards.
Okay.
And the 2-inch lift is always good for fitting bigger tyres and things later on down the line.
Yeah, we want to go from 31 to 33, so it makes sense.
This gives you a nice arch gap.
Am I right in thinking that was also necessary for the top mount alternator?
Necessary.
It kind of was, but it's not. We managed to get it quite close on your one, so we redid our design a little bit to give you a bit more height.
Yeah.
So for
and you've got a slightly bigger alternator.
Yeah, for Mark III L200s and things like that, we would ask for a body lift to be done, just because there's not that much space between the intercooler mount and the actual alternator. But on this one in particular, there's a lot more room, so we managed to get it in there.
That's cool. And what alternator is it?
It is a 100 amp, 120, sorry, yeah, 120 amp. I'm trying to remember the brand. It was either Bosch or was it Lucas? I think it might have been a Bosch one.
Okay.
So it's pretty juicy alternator. Obviously, it's.
What's the original?
The original is 70 amp Lucas.
So it's quite a big.
It's a big jump.
gain.
Yeah.
120 is still big for modern standards, really.
Yeah.
And that's a standard alternator off of a large
Maxis panel vans, large panel vans.
Okay.
So
stuff like that. And it's got a clutched alternator and modern internal fan and all the rest of it. So
can you tell us the benefits of having a large alternator? For anyone who doesn't know?
Just it doesn't work as hard. So
so when you're using your winch and you've got the engine running, it's not going to push that alternator too hard. Obviously, if you've got things like your fridge and everything running at the same time, you're not just basically pushing it hard all the time. So it'll last longer as well, because it's up high. You're not going to be flooding it with loads of mud, especially the mud we've got here. It's quite gritty.
If you look at any standard low down alternator, they're always
really
covered
in
covered in stuff. And if you look at a high mount one, they're bone dry,
spotless. Most of the time.
It lasts a million times longer, and it's a lot easier to change.
Yes.
And it doesn't have oil pipes going to it, and you're not making yourself messy.
And had to do the wires.
Yeah.
It's really tricky. Okay, so we were just talking about the alternator. Talk us through the new setup.
Alright, so we've got a 120 amp alternator, top mount. Keeps it nice and clear, obviously, from the mud and water that a lot of these vehicles go through.
Yeah, as we found out.
We've obviously relocated the wiring from down low. You had quite some bad wiring before. It looked like you had a bit of a fire at one point down there as well.
It was close to it in Portugal, for sure.
So we've redone some of that. I cut it down and actually spliced in a new section for it. Obviously, with this setup, because you still need a vacuum pump, the original does still stay down there, but it's fully disconnected, and it's just running the vacuum pump in the back. So it's still down there on one belt.
The vacuum side of it tends to stay pretty reliable, doesn't it?
Yeah, the vacuum side of them are pretty much reliable. You don't really ever have to replace them. I don't think we've ever had to.
Never had one go wrong.
Never. They're oil fed as well, so they tend to just go forever.
Yeah.
Obviously,
it's just a simple oil pump.
This is the custom mount to hold it all together, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a custom mount. It's mounting in, it's mounting behind the power steering pump, off of the factory engine mount, engine lift point,
and one off the water pump.
And one off the water pump, It's a nice strong mount, and should see you through for a long time without any problems. Obviously, it'll be nice to see how clean you keep it, because up here it's really protected.
It should be good now.
It's still shiny.
It's still shiny,
We'll be doing well to soak that one.
Yeah, exactly.
What else has changed under here since we last saw it?
Well, before Wales we did the fan mods as well, which was in preparation for adding some power to it. So on on most cars and on all the Mitsubishis, you've got a viscous fan coupling, which after years goes soft, so it doesn't spin as hard as what it did once. This one, being an old vehicle, was particularly bad. This one you could literally spin it over by hand, and that'll mean when you're in Portugal or something towing a caravan, it will get hotter than what it should do.
Which we did.
So rather than spending money on posh radiators and electric fans and things like that, you can just stiffen up the fan itself and get it back to what it was, which is really cheap and easy to do.
It's really stiffened up.
This is way stiffer than what it ever was at factory, and you'll notice that the engine will just stay at stat temperature. This one, it's about 68, 70 degrees, and the moment the stat opens, it just keeps it there because there's so much cooling capacity left in it. Helps that it's got a good quality radiator in it, and it's full of mud and stuff.
Yeah, last year we had that record. So it's the original radiator, just record.
It's got all good metal.
And would you say a good working viscous fan is a better option to having like electric?
It's more reliable than any electric fan, but the electric fans are quite reliable, but the amount of flow that you can get out of quite a stiff viscous fan is a lot more than even a pair of twin 14-inch electric fans off of eBay, unless you're starting to spend over £150 on expensive Sval or Kenwell fans, then they'll get to what this is. But this is a £20-30 mod, so
these
and they're 100% reliable.
The electric ones, you've got to be careful with water and switch them off first.
Yeah, you don't strain your alternator and any of that. You don't have to have a fan switch in it, so it's a lot easier to do. And it keeps it 100% cool when you're trying to make more power.
It's definitely running cool at the moment, that's for sure. And you had to move the power steering, right, to make way for the...
Didn't move it. We had to upgrade it to Mark III power steering pump, because it's got a remote reservoir which leaves you room for the alternator, because your one previously had the reservoir right on top of it. But you can use... This has got actually Mark III pulley set up power steering just to allow that alternator setup to work nicely. But
we keep moved over that side.
So that's normal late position. And we just keep all that stuff on the shelf, so if it needs it, it just gets thrown on.
Okay, tell us a bit about the engine chilling that's going on at the moment.
You want to do that?
So we were doing a power upgrade for you, just to give you a bit more power, especially since you tow. You do a lot of hills. As part of that, we also did a compression check, found that you had cylinder 1 had some leak by. So we took the rocker off to find that you had actually quite a worn cam.
I'll try and stick a picture of that in now.
Yeah, definitely add a picture in, that's an interesting one for you. So what we've actually done, because that cam was beyond saving.
What do you think caused it?
It's poor maintenance. Someone's made a bad choice, I would suspect, and also just generally age. They do wear, especially the old flat style cams. So
it's a relatively low mileage engine, isn't it?
Yeah, it is quite low.
50,000 kilometres.
I think it's also quite strongly because someone has adjusted the valve lash wrong at some point, because it was so tight. The reason one of the cylinders was down on compression was because the valve lash was so tight it was holding open on number 1. So there was probably, and that was after the cam was worn. So when the cam wasn't worn, that would have been holding open even more. So at some point, someone's been in there,
made a poor choice,
just done something, and adjusted it way too tight. But now it's got all roller cams in it, new camshaft and everything, and runs on 4 cylinders now.
And it starts nicely now, rather than coughing and spluttering for the first couple of minutes.
Exactly.
As a part of that, it ended up with the balance belt delete, because found out the balance belt was actually 2 belts at this point, and it wasn't far off snapping. So again, some point someone's decided to have the time belt changed, or had the time belt changed, and the garage haven't done the balance belt at the same time, which is never a good idea. It's running with just a time belt now, and this.
But in theory, you don't have to run it with the balance belt.
No, and I mean, does it feel any rougher to you? It probably feels smoother now it's running on 4.
I haven't noticed. Yeah, exactly. I haven't noticed anything worse. So
that was all preparation to the power upgrades. So it's having only just started it at the moment, but turned up the fuel pump a little bit. The boost is already slightly increased by you, and at the moment we're making about 11 psi at max, which isn't much above what it was with the standard pump, which is about 9-10 psi. A small haze of smoke on it at the moment, but I think we're going to make sure next week, I think we're going to find the turbo is actually the limit, because this has got a much older wastegated turbo on it from the 80s.
The smoke didn't seem too bad until you really give it
it's only when you give it flat out, but it should make more boost and have less smoke. So might end up changing that to a VGT turbo if you decide that you want more later down the line.
Increase it more. I think you were saying as well that we might be let down by our aging gearbox because it's so old design.
It's got a very old-fashioned, completely hydraulic gearbox. They slip a lot, so you're losing a lot of power in all the gears, and I think your lockup doesn't engage way up until nearly, I think it was 3,500.
I actually thought it didn't have a lockup.
It does have lockup. It just takes a very long time to get there.
So that's why you notice nothing, and then it's suddenly okay.
Yeah, we found on our test drives that the lockup in this only engages when you let off, and then after that it actually is holding. But as soon as you put your foot down, obviously you've got a limit switch actually on the full throttle. So as soon as that's engaged, disengages lock up, and you're back in the same position. Loads of slip and loads of noise, and not really going anywhere.
Yeah. So somewhere down the line, we might be better upgrading to like a Mark II.
Yeah, you could go to a Mark II AW4 box.
We want to keep the auto.
Yeah, you want to go with auto. I was going to say there are some manual options, but you like your autos.
I do like auto now.
Yeah, it makes it controllable for you off road.
Yeah.
Probably have a custom gearbox controller at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to be doing some custom gearbox control for AW4s.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that.
That's going to have fully auto, flappy paddle.
That will make the difference.
It'll make a difference. It'll give you some more control as well off road, because you can do the lock up in first gear, second gear, third gear, and fourth.
So I absolutely love the auto off road. It's just when you come to like a really steep descent or something, then it gets a bit sketchy.
Exactly. You don't get much engine brake without lock up. As I say, it can get a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
The AW4, the relief valves and that are actually a lot better anyway. So the general overrun is better, but if you can engage lock up, you'll be a lot better off going downhill. I'm
sure of it.
Yeah.
We will see. Maybe sometime down the line.
Maybe a different engine who
upgrade,
knows?
Gearbox upgrade. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Right, so something I know what people want to know about is the axles, because these are definitely not the original axles, are they?
No.
We found those off of a Mark II Shogun. So it has the Mark II Shogun front and rear axle. And how much work did have to go into get that?
A surprising amount. Yeah, it started with you coming to us wanting a locker, because obviously you had one in the Mark II and you have nothing in this, so you wanted a rear locker.
It's now twin locked.
And they made a locker for the original Mark I axle, but it was silly money. And
it's only ARB that we're offering.
You had to get an ARB one, and then you only got the rear, not the front. So we had a little look at it and decided that if we're going to do that, you may as well get a factory Mark II locking rear axle. And if you may as well do that, you may as well get the big one, the 9.5 inch out of a 2.8 or a 3.5.
Much stronger.
Yeah, it's the strongest axle they make, and it's actually one of the. I was thinking about the other day, it might be the strongest factory air locking axle in the rear of anyone, because there's bigger ones from America and Patrol and such like, but none of them came with a locker. So it's a 9.5 inch ring gear anyway, which is pretty beefy. It's a Dana 60 is 9 3/4, so you're only just off it.
It's an air locker.
Yeah, so you've got factory air locker in the rear, which is perfect. Engages and disengages at the touch of a button, fully locked.
But also what was really complicated was the fact that it came from a coil sprung vehicle and this is a leaf sprung vehicle.
So it was a coil sprung axle, obviously had spring perches, trailing arm mounts, third arm mounts, and all the rest of it. So this is leaf sprung, so we had to cut all of that off. The axle was quite rusty anyway, so we took it all back to bare metal, welded on leaf spring pads for it. We managed to use some of the existing coil sprung perches for the airbag setup, because it spiraled out of control and you wanted airbags as well.
Yeah, because we were getting really bad sag on the back.
You could have had more springs, but this gives you the choice of whatever height you want to run at. And as you found out, it's insanely comfortable.
It's such a comfortable ride. It handles so well now, like miles better than it did before.
For long distance, much more.
The
really made the difference.
The nitty gritty of doing an axle swap with the Mark II for this vehicle. Obviously, you've got to custom fab the axle so that it fits on the spring perches. You then got to custom fab the prop, because it takes a bigger prop flange for the bigger axle, which you then have to custom onto the original Mark I prop, which is also too long, so you've got to shorten it at the same time. Then you've got to do a anti-roll bar mount if you want an anti-roll bar. The Mark II one won't fit, so you have to custom the Mark I anti-roll bar onto it. And then with the front, because of course the Mark II actually has a slightly wider trap than the Mark I, so we've accidentally got a wider axle as well, which is always good. At the front, we've had to do custom work on all of the wishbones to make sure that the front drive shafts are sat at the correct length to work, which has also helped get you more travel on the front, more comfort, things like that.
The track has really come out now.
If you look at it from the front, it's got a much wider track, similar to what you'd get if you put sort of 50mm spacers on your car, but it's got proper scrub radius and everything like that, so it's a lot better.
And we've got custom control arms, so we've retained our travel.
So you've got custom upper control arms that are wider, and they also give you more down travel without necking the top ball joint, which is a common problem. So you've got no neck at all at standard. It's perfect.
Even with the lift.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect, the
and
top
what
angle.
What do you say overall lift is?
Well, it's what you want, to be honest, but at the moment you're set at about a 2-inch lift on the front and about 2.5 on the back, slightly higher on the back, just because it sort of looked right.
You can have the back where you want.
You can have the back up to 4 or 5 inches lift on these airbags. The springs actually become the limit rather than the airbags, because you reach the max down travel on the springs and the shocks.
Well, I think it's enough at the moment with these tiny tyres.
Yeah, you get 33s on here and it'll look right.
Yeah.
So
33s is needed.
Yeah. But yeah, the air rides worked out really well. Discovery 2 airbags with completely custom air control setup, permanent air on board, can run tools off.
You just told everybody there's a Land Rover part on the
It's a Discovery 2 airbag, but it's only the airbag. It's not anything else.
Okay.
And they're a nice long travel airbag, which is good. So
and there's something a little bit special in the way that it controls the airbags and the locker.
So the air setup, rather than having a factory Mitsubishi air pump, which are kind of slow to engage, they take a couple of seconds to engage. This is run off of the air system with a regulator, so the moment you press that button, that will lock up straight away, which is quite nice to have.
It's a full onboard air system.
Yeah. So full-time air. You can run power tools off it if you want to, and stuff like that. The airbags you can set at whatever height you want. You've also got a link and de-link, so the bags can be de-linked for road use and linked for off-road use, which should help the flex and the roll.
So just when you link them together, it just allows the pressure difference between the two.
Yeah, it allows it to flow from the
the
high side down to the low side, and it should have let it flex a bit more.
There's a compressor with a tank, and that's controlling the airbags, the locker, and you've got an outlet for tyres and tools and things like that.
That's it, yeah.
Which I'm quite excited about, actually, because we've never had anything so good as that before.
And in future, if you decide to put the front on air as well, which you probably won't, it's quite comfortable, but it's up to
It's riding good.
Then you can do that, and it will just link into the same system, and it won't be too hard. You just got to put bags and mounts on it.
So it certainly beats our sagged old suspension. Well, it wasn't the spring's fault, it was just the...
well, you got quite a lot of weight in the back.
It was just the weight, so...
This you can just have it sit at whatever height you want. If you change the weight setup, you can just adjust it to suit. So it's nice.
Way more comfortable, so it's going to be...
It's actually more comfortable on the back than the front now, which is very unusual for a Mitsubishi.
And leaf springs.
So I'm actually jealous. I'll get it on mine at some point.
Yeah, it's inspired. You're inspired to do it now.
I will do it on mine at some point.
So Justin's thinking about it as well.
He wants it, although I'm not sure if it'll work for super long travel. He's going for a sort of trophy truck thing, doing 50 mile an hour over jumps.
Okay, it's a bit different.
It might work, but I don't know.
Going for it on the V8 Pajero?
I might have 4 corners, So all 4 corners, I might do some airbag setup on it. We'll get it running first.
Yeah, well, that'll be another story for another time. That's going to be an interesting project.
Yeah,
Mark II Pajero.
That's going to have literally everything anyone could ever really want on that.
Okay.
That's going to be a bit like what we've done with Justin's, a bit of a show.
Yeah.
Just to literally show everyone what we can do.
It's probably going to be a long video then.
Is it built yet?
It's going to be a long project.
We'll get there. Sorry, when we get back in the summer, it'll be done.
And I think the only other thing you've got on here is a custom exhaust, custom second half.
Yes, because we had an exhaust half made in Portugal, but it didn't work at all.
Yeah, and then you smashed it to pieces in Wales. So
and it was way too loud.
Yeah. So
what have you done to it?
You got us a nice straight through muffler, which was actually turned out to be perfect.
Yeah, seems pretty good.
We adapted that onto the downpipe with a nice exit that exits above the chassis rail, so you'll never smash it on anything in future, and it's come out sounding really good.
So it's really neat looking welds.
Oh yeah, it's all TIG pie cut stainless. That's how we do all of our exhausts for people. But
it does sound really good actually.
Yeah, it's come out sounding nice for what it is.
Horrible before. And for the rear brakes, kind of had to do a bit of adapting to get the Mark 1 calipers to fit on the Mark 2 axle. Yeah,
so I found it on Mark 2 axles, and you found it on your old one, that the handbrake seems to have a mind of its own, and it will constantly loosen up.
It's a separate handbrake from shoes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's shoes inside discs, drums inside discs.
Whereas
setup.
This is winding caliper.
It's
actually the caliper.
Yeah, wind back caliper on these. So you wanted these calipers, plus we didn't have any calipers, and you'd have to have bought them and the brake setup with it. We did a custom mount on the back of the hub to mount the Mark 1 carriers and calipers and the Mark 1 discs. which have to have the centre hole enlarged to fit over the bigger flange on the Mark II. You'll also note, you might not notice this yet, but your wheel now touches your flange, whereas before it was too small. So that actually means there must be Mark II wheels from something. But or it's because you only got the big on the front, because you already had a big on the front. So the Mark you would have had.
Did it fit on the front before?
So your front still has the big front, so that's why your wheels are too big, but the back is, or the wheels to the right, they are Mark 1 wheels. Anyway, so custom mount carrier and calipers and everything on the back of that, which means you've still got quite an effective handbrake. And weirdly, actually, the Mark 1 and Mark 2 calipers are almost identical, not in design, but in size. But the Mark 1's on a larger radius disc, so technically it's slightly better at braking. Although it's barely a noticeable difference.
More heat dissipation.
It is technically, well no, because it's spinning faster. You grab it, it will stop it slower to do with leverage. It's only a small difference, but it is slightly better. But mainly it's the handbrake.
We did that. To retain a good handbrake for once.
Yeah, which is it's interesting to do. We've never done it before, but it's come out well. So just another thing.
You just talk about how you did where the top of the airbags they sit, the seats. You feel like you've done a custom frame.
Yeah, there's there's basically spring towers now
for the airbags
inside the chassis that mount the top of the airbags. Good that you had the 2-inch body lift with that, because we've been able to step them up above the chassis a little bit, and that gives you more travel. And you've got room for any amount of flex basically.
So we won't be limited by the airbags now for down travel.
No, they're literally then you can get, I don't know, a standard running height of plus 5-inch lift with these airbags and not have to change anything. So
that's something we do want to do later down the line.
Yeah, loads of room to improve. And you've also got an auto locker in the front, which you haven't mentioned.
Yes, front axle.
It's again, it's a Mark II 8-inch front axle with the 28 spine shafts, and that has got the locker, LOKKA,
Aussie locker,
lunchbox locker in it.
Automatic one, isn't it?
Full-time locker, not quite as good as an air locker, but it works just as well in real time. So fully locked front whenever you've got power going to it.
It kind of disconnects on the road when you're going around corners and things.
Yeah, if you've not got power to it in 2-wheel drive, then it does. And with the Mitsubishi axle disconnect, you can disconnect it anyway. With an air solenoid, which we're going to put in, so you'll have that. But off-road, it really helps having it twin locked, and it means any axle twister or anything like that, it'll just crawl straight up it, as you should find out in a minute.
Yeah, well, it seemed really good just going through this really muddy section, so I'm excited to try it out properly. It's going to make a big difference.
Twin locked versus no lockers.
Twin lock now,
So show to anyone with a difference.
We really missed our rear locker in the Mark II, so now we've gone from 1 to none to 2. Alright, well, thanks so much for spending some hard time the last couple of months.
Very hard times.
doing this build for us.
Yeah, no, you're welcome.
We've seen it today and we're really quite impressed. Like it's looking really good, it's performing really good. So I've got real high hopes that this is going to be the finished project for at least for the time being.
Yeah, we can go out and have some fun with it, and you're going to take it to Portugal?
Yeah, we're going to Portugal. We actually booked the ferry, so we're going on the 8th of Feb, so only a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's going to be good.
And, we'll look forward to the videos from that as well.
Yeah. Thanks for taking us through all the mods, and
you're welcome.
It's been nice to get an insight into like how everything's been made and how it works. And what we can expect in terms of performance.
Definitely.
And the real test soon to come.
Real testings, in Selecta,
And if any of the guys want to find you online, you got an Instagram?
Website? We have Instagram, and we also have a website as well. So Instagram is just at Hearts Custom 4x4, and then our website is www.heartscustom4x4.co.uk. We're going to be offering quite a few products on there soon, and obviously if you want to get in contact with us, Instagram or Facebook are the best ways.
Yeah, if anyone's thinking about getting some custom work as well,
exactly, any custom work.
With you,
exactly,
whichever on Instagram.
Yeah, rock sliders, winch bumpers, and then all sorts of other products as well that will be available, and you'll be able to see them.
Yeah, because you've been making these kind of rock steps and things for quite a while now, haven't you?
Yeah, we've been offering these for quite a while now, probably about 4 years.
Yeah.
And we've been doing winch bumpers for people for the same time. And there's loads of pictures of that on our Instagram and Facebook as well.
Yeah, we'll try and stick in a couple of photos of some other of the bumpers that you've made up.
There's quite a lot available.
Yeah.
And we do it also for Delicas as well.
Delicas.
Yeah.
And Pajeros. And L200s.
Yeah, and there's obviously other projects on there that people can have a look at, and there'll be some social media links there as well. They can go off and have a look around.
Yeah. Cool.
All
okay.
Right. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
See a video on this.
Who thinks we should do a video on this L200?
Yeah.
Do let us know. Because it can happen.
It can definitely happen.
Quickly.
Can it happen?
You have a change.
You hurry up.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Gosh, Molly is ready to take over Portugal. Well guys, if you enjoyed it, give us a like, subscribe, and before I'm going to Portugal, I want to quickly say thank you to our latest Patreon supporter, Robert Chandler. Thank you so much, really appreciate that. And to find out more about Patreon, see the link up here, and guys, see you in the next one.
Nice bow wave, guys. Oh, it is slightly deeper in yours. Sorry, guys. Oh, you're right.
Right, yeah.